Your attention is trainable, not metaphorically, not in some vague self-help sense, but literally through specific neural adaptations that occur when you practice the right way. Let's talk about what actually works. Your brain has networks dedicated to controlling attention. The prefrontal cortex holds your goals in mind. The anterior cingulate detects when you've drifted off task. The parietal cortex maintains a priority map of what matters right now. These regions communicate constantly, and when they work in sync, you experience sustained focus. When that synchronization breaks down, your attention fragments. The good news is that these networks strengthen with use. Every time you practice focusing, you're sending signals through neural pathways, and those signals have physical consequences. Synapses strengthen, white matter becomes more efficient, the system adapts. But here's what most people get wrong. They think of attention like a muscle that gets tired and needs rest to refill some metaphorical tank. That model is outdated. Mental fatigue isn't about depleting a resource. It's a motivational signal. Your brain continuously calculates whether continued effort is worth the cost. As you work, the perceived cost rises, not because you're running out of fuel, but because your brain is designed to avoid overcommitting to any single activity. This is adaptive. An organism that hyper-focuses on one thing while ignoring everything else gets eaten. Understanding this changes how you approach focus. You're not trying to increase your tank size. You're trying to shift how your brain evaluates the cost-benefit equation of sustained attention. You train your tolerance for the rising sense of effort. You cultivate genuine interest in what you're doing, so the benefits stay high even as costs accumulate. This is why intrinsic motivation matters so much for sustained focus. It's not just feel-good advice. It's working with your brain's actual decision-making architecture. Now, your working memory capacity creates another constraint. You can only hold 3 to 5 meaningful pieces of information in mind simultaneously. This limitation isn't arbitrary. It emerges from how the prefrontal cortex maintains persistent neural firing patterns. Those patterns represent what you're currently thinking about, and you can only sustain so many before the system becomes unstable. This capacity predicts how well you can filter distractions. When working memory is full, irrelevant information slips through more easily. You become distractible not because you lack willpower, but because your filtering system has exceeded its bandwidth. The practical implication is that managing cognitive load becomes part of managing attention. Break complex tasks into chunks that fit within your working memory limits. Offload information to external systems rather than trying to hold everything in your head. This isn't cheating, it's working intelligently with your cognitive architecture. And yes, working memory capacity is trainable. Adaptive N-back tasks and complex span exercises produce real improvements, typically 10 to 15% gains that transfer to other attention tasks. Not revolutionary, but meaningful. Here's something interesting. Your brain toggles between 2 major modes. The task-positive network handles focused, external attention. The default mode network activates during rest and internal thought. These networks show anti-correlation. When one turns up, the other turns down. Sustained focus requires continuously suppressing the default mode network, and that network doesn't go quietly. It keeps trying to intrude. Every time it escapes suppression, you experience mind wandering. The better you get at suppressing it, the longer you can maintain focus. This is trainable. Meditation practice produces measurable changes in default mode connectivity and makes it easier to keep suppressed during focused work. But suppression has costs. You're not just maintaining a signal. You're fighting an ongoing battle against a powerful network that wants to activate. This is exhausting. It's part of why sustained focus feels difficult. You're not imagining it. You're engaged in continuous neural conflict, and that conflict consumes metabolic resources. Understanding this helps explain why breaks matter. During genuine rest, the default mode network needs to activate. This isn't wasted time. It's neurologically necessary for the attention system to recover. There's also a temporal bottleneck in attention called the attentional blink. After you fully process one piece of information, there's roughly a half-second window where you're functionally blind to other information. The first stimulus captures processing resources so completely that a second stimulus arriving too quickly simply doesn't reach awareness. This reveals that attention has fundamental temporal limits. You can't process everything. The system has to select, and selection takes time. Training can reduce the duration of the blink, but you can't eliminate it. Accepting this constraint helps you structure tasks realistically, rather than fighting neurobiological limits. Your attention also habituates. Novelty captures attention automatically through the orienting response, but repetition causes habituation. The same stimulus that initially engaged you strongly will gradually lose its ability to hold attention. This is adaptive for filtering out irrelevant information, but it makes sustained focus on familiar material neurologically expensive. You're fighting systems designed to disengage from the predictable. The solution involves either introducing genuine novelty periodically or training your ability to maintain focus despite habituation. Meditation does the latter. You're learning to override automatic disengagement, strengthening top-down control over bottom-up. Salience. Metacognitive monitoring is your secret weapon. This is your brain's ability to track its own state. The anterior cingulate detects when you've drifted off task and signals the need to reorient. Individual differences in how quickly people notice mind wandering predict attentional performance more than how often attention drifts. Everyone's attention wanders. The question is how fast you catch it. This is highly trainable. Mindfulness meditation is essentially training your metacognitive monitoring system. You practice noticing when attention has wandered and returning it, not preventing wandering, noticing it quickly. So what actually works for training? Working memory exercises using adaptive difficulty. 20 to 30 minutes daily for 25 sessions minimum. Mindfulness meditation with sustained attention practice. 30 minutes daily for 8 weeks minimum. These protocols show reliable effects in rigorous studies. Effect sizes are modest but real. 10 to 20% improvements that transfer to untrained tasks. This won't make you superhuman, but it will meaningfully improve your baseline capacity. What doesn't work? Most commercial brain training games. They make you better at the games without improving broader cognitive abilities. Simple, repetitive tasks without adaptive difficulty. Your brain adapts specifically to whatever challenge you provide. If the challenge is trivial, adaptations are minimal and don't generalize. But training alone isn't enough. Biology matters enormously. Sleep deprivation produces attentional impairments equivalent to legal intoxication. One night of poor sleep can erase weeks of training gains temporarily. Chronic sleep restriction creates cumulative deficits that no amount of willpower can overcome. Your attentional networks are intact, but they're operating on degraded substrate. Sleep is non-negotiable. Circadian rhythms create predictable fluctuations in attentional capacity. 4. Most people, peaks occur late morning and early evening, with a trough early afternoon. You can fight your circadian rhythm, but it's metabolically expensive. Better to schedule demanding cognitive work during peaks and routine tasks during troughs. You're working with biology rather than against it. Your environment modulates attention through multiple pathways. Chronic noise produces stress responses that impair prefrontal function, even if you think you've habituated. Poor lighting reduces alerting signals that support attention. Elevated carbon dioxide in poorly ventilated spaces impairs cognitive function at levels you wouldn't consciously notice. These aren't trivial effects. Optimizing environment can improve attention as much as weeks of training. Here's how to build a sustainable practice. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of sleep consistently. Align demanding work with circadian peaks, typically late morning. Create an environment that minimizes unpredictable interruptions. Choose one evidence-based training approach and commit to it for at least 8 weeks. Working memory training or mindfulness meditation, not both simultaneously unless you have substantial time. Add regular aerobic exercise, 30 minutes most days. Structure focused work in blocks of 45 to 90 minutes, with genuine rest breaks between. Expect improvement to be gradual, weeks, not days. Expect plateaus where progress seems to stall before breakthroughs occur. This is normal consolidation. Maintain practice through plateaus. Track subjective changes over weeks. Are you noticing mind wandering faster? Sustaining focus longer before needing breaks? Feeling less frustrated by attentional difficulties? These matter more than daily performance fluctuations. Accept that perfect focus is neither possible nor necessary. You're training your ability to notice when attention drifts and correct efficiently. You're extending how long you can sustain focus before fatigue overwhelms control. You're making the attentional system more stable and resistant to disruption. But you'll still have moments of poor attention, days when focus feels impossible. This is being human with a biological system subject to varying conditions. The key insight is that attention operates through specific neural mechanisms with known properties and limitations. Those mechanisms are plastic. They adapt to how you use them. Train them systematically while optimizing the biology they depend on, and you develop meaningfully better attentional capacity. Not infinite capacity, not perfect focus, but substantially better than what you have now. That's what's actually achievable, and honestly, that's enough. Thanks for listening. If you found this useful, let me know. Now go practice noticing when your attention wanders. That's where the real work begins.